Good morning from my very boring, soon to not be boring, hallway. This is the new hallway that we built last year. It is very dark. The only natural light is through the glass door behind the camera. It has no windows. And there is a doorway into the front hallway there. So I'm going to turn this really boring, very narrow hallway into something a little less boring. I'm not sure if I can get it finished by the end of October, but we'll give it a try. And we're going for a kind of a dark academia-ish kind of a style in here. And I will put the camera on its tripod properly and I can show you what I have in mind. I think I'll open this door as well and get a bit more light in here. So originally this was the living room door and it comes in from the sun lounge behind the camera. It doesn't open very well either because there is a curtain in the way and the floor is not level. We now have this doorway here into the living room, sitting room, because this part basically didn't get used for anything. We had John's jukebox kind of here behind, just past the door, and eventually when that got moved into the den, we had the antique Singer sewing machine there instead. But all you would do would come in this doorway, kind of walk around the sewing machine and then walk through to get to the door to the rest of the hallway. So it was always used as a walkway, it was always used as a passageway. So we decided build a proper wall here. That meant the living room was no longer a through room, and that's nice and keeps much more warm and cosy now. So I'm going to put the lights on so we can see a bit better, and I'm going to bring the camera in a wee bit and I can show you what I have in mind. So I have a wallpaper sample. Okay, I have a wallpaper sample here and I do have the wallpaper, but this is the sample that I originally got. It is a really nice textured, almost like a woven fabric paper. Helps if I show it the right way up, with these nice big flowers on, but it's this lovely like faded brown. It's going to look brilliant. This room doesn't get a lot of natural light, so why try to make it look as if it does when it doesn't, when you can make it darker? Obviously, why make a room light when you make it darker? So the plan is this wall that runs from that door all the way through to the end. It has a doorway here which is white eggshell. One of my biggest regrets when we first decorated in here was doing white paint on the woodwork, so I'm going to change that. But this whole wall will have, I'm not sure it'll stick up because I don't think I've got any blue tack left on one of these corners, but it will be this wallpaper, which is not going to stick, but it will be this dark brown wallpaper, and it's got a lovely feel. It does feel quite cloth-like. So there's that. I also have blue tack on my wall now. So that's the wallpaper, and the louvre doors, that's not going to stay there. The louvre doors here were only ever put up temporary, but I'm actually going to keep them because they kind of give me a, I don't know, like a, think like an Edwardian steamer boat kind of a feel. So I'm going to keep them, but I'm not sure if I'm going to paint them or stain them darker or anything yet. I'm going to leave them for the moment, but I will take them off to do the wallpapering. I also need to paint the hinges because they're brass. Yeah, I don't think I want them on show. And the wood that the doors were originally hung on was just rough. It could, because they were temporary, it's just rough 2x1 wood. So that will need to be sanded at least a bit because you don't really see them. So they're not too rough. This cupboard is currently just used as a catch-all for towels, some fabrics and board games, because we have a shortage of storage, and we're going to ignore the dust on here because I will dust that first. The white paintwork, I'll move you down again. The white paintwork, which I regret. Obviously I don't want a big white door in the middle of my nice brown wallpaper. So I bought some very dark brown satin paint to paint these. It is like a very dark chocolate, almost like a bitter chocolate brown. Normally trying to paint woodwork to look like paint never looks like woodwork, so I'm not going to try and make it look like woodwork, if that makes sense. I might, if I don't like it too much, is kind of in all the little ridges, is just add a bit of darkening, maybe, like weathering, because this is a 4-panel door, so I might be able to get away with it. But we'll see. I mean, I might not need it, because this room's going to be so dark, and because this wall's going to be so dark, it might look perfectly fine. The end wall, I'm planning on doing some sort of book page, kind of a decoration-y thing going on here, and I haven't decided if it's going to be all book pages or like brown paper on the wall and then book pages in a display, and even have an old paperback copy of Jane Austen's Northanger Abbey, which I have no qualms about taking out the pages of. It even doesn't have it does have page numbers, but they're quite small. My mum was just taking this to the charity shop anyway, and I do have another copy of Northanger Abbey. The bookcase is staying. Down here we have the front half of a chest of drawers. It was completely cut through the middle, so these drawers are really small, and this one holds cat treats and other things. Really small drawers. And the other half of it is beside it, and John has kind of fastened them together, but it needs some cupboard doors putting on here, probably some sliding ones, but I'm not sure. These are all kind of dark and weathered already, so I'll be leaving them. And on top of the drawers section we have, I'm going to have a halfway up shelf, so there will be the lower level here, and then there's obviously the tall level of the bookcase, and the middle bit will be halfway, so it'll be like a stepped effect up this wall. So there's that, and obviously be lots of display things all over here, like books and old books and ornaments and so on and so forth. The living room door needs to be stained, not sure what shade yet, likely dark brown. So yeah, I have quite a lot of work to do in here. But first task, apart from waiting for my hair to finish drying, is remove these doors, do some sanding and some keying up of this woodwork, and then either stain what I can stain or do a first coat of paint. But I need to get changed at some painting clothes first, and hope that I can find a sweater that I don't mind getting paint on, because it is quite chilly in here today, and normally I would just paint in a t-shirt, but it's a bit cold for that. And oh yeah, I've got a nice big, well, kind of like an oval shaped mirror. Stands, I'm not showing this very well on camera, stands about, oh I don't know, 2.5 feet high. It's like a hallway kind of mirror, but not, which will either go on this end wall or opposite the living room door. I haven't decided yet. And yeah, I have lots of various little itty bitty ideas running around, but I need to get the bones in first. I've filled in any holes in the wall, well, one main hole in the wall, and some cracks in the door, in the panel door where the panels have kind of come apart. We have a big variety in humidity levels in our house. So in the winter it's quite dry, so all the wood things tend to like shrink, and then in the summer we have high humidity, so everything kind of expands. So some of the doors, the panels, or not so much the panels, but the way the doors are joined together in pieces have kind of come apart, especially on some of like this door, which is one of the first ones we bought. And I guess it comes back to that old adage, buy cheap, buy twice, because we have one of our other doors, which is a better quality wood, hasn't got any gaps in it, but this one is very bad. Plus it didn't help that we had to cut a lot off of the top and bottom to fit in the very small doorway that this is. I mean, I'm 5'4" and it's maybe 6 foot, maybe. We had to take a lot off the bottom and a lot off the top, so there isn't a lot of top and bottom of door to hold everything together. And we've had that with a few doors in this house because it's been an old cottage. But I filled in, I've just realised there's another gap in the top of that door. I'm going to fill in with polyfiller because I'm painting it rather than staining it, so the paint will go over it, which is fine. I'm going to let this dry and I'll wipe everything over with a damp cloth. Then what I think I'll do is leave till tomorrow to do the painting, so everything's completely dry. Plus insomnia is kicking my butt right now, so I am running out of steam. So I'm going to get this done, do a bit more, let this polyfiller dry, do a little knitting, wipe it down, and then come back to this tomorrow. And then that's when things will start looking different. I kind of rough sanded these bits of wood. These will probably be replaced at some point. This cupboard will all be redone at some point. It just has one of those plastic shelving units in there at the moment. When we originally moved in, the living room was kind of being used as a temporary kitchen, and we put these shelves in this alcove so I could put my pots and pans and stuff on it. Since then it's been used for a variety of things, but at the moment it's just some of the towels, some bags of fabric, board games, etc. My blending board. I have a cat trying to get in here. So at some point this cupboard will be done out properly. Not sure what it'll be used for, probably just a big storage cupboard. The towels will be moved into an airing cupboard when the airing cupboard is built, but that is for probably next summer, because we're moving our hot water tank from one end of the house to the other, so we will have a proper airing cupboard with our hot water cylinder in it. So for now I've just rough sanded these bits of wood, and that's all I've done to them. I will put some paint on here so that you can't see the wood past the edge of the louver doors. I might even only just paint the front base of them, I don't know yet. I don't know if you can hear a little kitty meowing. I shall let her out of the living room and go clean up my polyfillery hands. It looks like my hand is bleeding, it's not. My dusty hands. So I shall see you tomorrow and we shall get some paint on this woodwork.